with objectivity. We are committed and resolute. We are HallowMace. We are the standard bearers. It's HallowMace on radio, dedicated to promotion of legislature, democracy, and good governance. It's hot, interactive, educating, engaging, and entertaining. HallowMace on radio, Thursdays, 10 a.m. on Armed Forces Radio, 107.7 FM. HallowMace on radio. Parliament, brought to the people. Brought to the people.
Good morning to you, listener. Good morning, Abuja. Good morning, Nigerians. Wherever you're listening to us from, this is Armed Forces Radio. And of course, the signature tune signifies that we are back again with the program HallowMace on Radio. HallowMace on Radio is a political program which promotes positive legislative arm of government, upheld the principles of separation of power, and of course, deepen democratic values for the interests of the common man and the citizens of this great country. We understand that times are hard. Economy is biting harder. The country is grappling with food insecurity, food crisis. We do have insecurity on the other hand, as the rate of kidnapping, banditry, and sundry crime is on the surge. And the executive and legislative arm of government do have a lot in their kitty to ponder about, because the country is looking for changing a system of government. Is that a priority? We do have what we call inflation as a result of some of the policies of government, either as a result of some of the policies of government or as a result of forex, that is exchange rate. But today we have political leaders, religious leaders, which people are questioning what they stand for and what they represent. We have religious leaders who are saying they can no longer curtail their subject or pacify their subject to the hardship they are faced on a daily basis, cutting across insecurity, inflation, and what we understand that is being referred to as tough economy. On this note, I welcome you to the program once again, HallowMace. We'll be looking at a call for compulsory certification of Nigerian citizens by the Senate. That is one bullet point we intend to beam our touchlight this morning. And the second one is move to change from the present presidential to parliamentary system of government. My name is Daniel Oti, your host. I'm not alone because I've got a guest in the studio and also the producer of this program. My guest is Comrade Jacob Okpanachi. He's a convener, Coalition of Civil Society for Good Governance. Good morning, sir, and welcome to our studios.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Sitting by my right hand side is Mr. Anderson Osigbe. Good morning. As a producer of the program, definitely you have a voice, because when we look at some of these policies of government, when we look at inflation rates, when we look at food crisis, price control, it cut across every sphere, not just either a PDP, either an APC, either a sitting party or a PDP or an ABGA member. When we go to markets, we all go to the same market. We all use the same currency. No person will tell you, okay, come and put 20 liters of fuel in your car because you voted for APC. No, it's not for free. So it cuts across every person and every individual. So Mr. Anderson will also be part of the conversation. And you, the listener, will also be part, because we are all stakeholders. We'll get your thoughts, your feedback, and your reactions, because it affects everyone. If you're not feeling the heat that is caused by natural disaster, you'll be feeling the heat that is caused by principles or policies of government. So this has a way of affecting you and I on a daily basis. So let's unveil our topic of discussion. The economy, to a large extent, the government is looking at fixing the economy. But at this point in time, the National Assembly, they are looking at making the registration of Nigerian citizens compulsory. Certification compulsory. We're looking at a misplacement of priority. Is this a misplacement of priority? Because Nigerians are at the receiving end. There was a time that every Nigerian was subjected to what we know as NIN, Bank Verification Number, BVN, National Identification Number. So what is this that is to come up? Again, because an average Nigerian is looking forward to a system whereby the government has removed subsidy. We want to see the dividends of this policy. Yes. But here we are grappling with the National Assembly, trying to make it compulsory for the certification of every Nigerian. Please bring us up to speed with your own background overview of this incident.
Good morning, listeners. It's important that we know that these things are not just coming out of the blues. And the most important factor to look into is whether there is enough political and economic intelligence in display with respect to our legislation. Or this is absolute legislative rascalism to me, because you cannot have a citizen in turmoil, a citizen that is struggling to survive payday. For your information, the only thing that Nigerian citizens get free from government, or not even totally free, absolutely shared by government, is a subsidy of fuel. And that subsidy, we are told, have been removed. Now, invariably, it means Nigerians are not taking anything from government, but rather contributing to government. Because as it is, the economy of Nigeria is being run by the common man on the street that sells sweet, that sells water, that sells whatever, because the largest chunk of their collective commonwealth are still lying in the pockets of the many. And the many are those that have been at the helms of affair. Now, back to the point we are making here. It is important to note that it is an absolute misplacement of priority to try to talk about certification of citizens. The monies that we have been spilling over attempts to identify who is a Nigerian is long overdue to sponsor a robust census. Now, I come to ask, why are we afraid of having a good census? If you have a good census, we should. So, who are you going to certify? Who is a Nigerian now as it is? You have not had census for close to 10 to 11 to 12 years. And here we are talking about certification. What about the NIN we have done? Over time, Nigerians were rushed out of their comfort places, out of their workplaces, and out of their busy schedules to go queue up in banks to get BVNs done. They went to National Identity Management Agency to get ID cards just to get NIN. We have been identified by this NIN, linked to our numbers, and yet communication have been existing between kidnappers and citizens on a daily basis with ransoms being paid. What is the essence of the NIN, National Identification Number? If National Identification Number is proposed for the identification of citizens, why are you looking at a certificate? Is it when a certificate is on an A4 that it is a certificate? The ID card itself is a form of a certificate, my friend. So, except you are telling me that this is a product of lack of political and economic intelligence in the House, which I assume it is resulting from the pattern in which many found themselves in the National Assembly. I beg to say I was on this program with a very, very intelligent and performing senator that could not return because he was not
performing
the choice
of the people,
not of the people, of the powers that be within the state. So the power that be in the state are the ones controlling the affairs of who becomes a senator, or they themselves become the senator. I have a senator in my state that went on his knee thanking a governor for over-rewarding him, a vote that was given to you by your people. So when you find this kind of people in the Senate, what are you expecting to get? Nothing shortfall from what we are getting now. And I think we have to take care, because there is an impending implosion that may not be controlled when the conflagration starts, because the citizens are at the height of it. They are at the brim of economic and political subjugation. And until this is curbed, I'm telling you, we are heading for a disaster. Just like Emia Senusi will say, Nigeria with the current economic situation is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. So let not the elitist, in quote, class be the one that would detonate this keg of gunpowder through unnecessary policy formulations that does not have bearing on the life of the common man, but rather to push them into untold hardship.
Well, that is Comrade Jacob Okpanachi expressing his own opinion, his own view about the move by the Senate to approve a compulsory certification of citizens following meeting with service chief. Let me bring you up to speed, because we believe that this platform is in the public domain, so that people in government, people in public space, and people in power would take to some of the recommendations we are making and the contributions of the public who are at the receiving end to make good policies that will enhance the standard of living of these people. So, to combat the threat of identity fraud, these were the issues raised. Multiple identities and instability in Nigeria. The federal government, through the Ministry of Interior, plans to make registration and certification of Nigerian resident mandatory. Underlining word here is mandatory. This was one of the resolutions made during Tuesday's meeting of the Nigerian Senate. Service chiefs also in attendance, heads of security agencies, and several ministers in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's cabinet. Okay. During the Senate's resumed plenary on January 30th, 2024, the security chiefs were summoned to an interactive session to discuss the rising cases of kidnapping, terrorism, banditry, armed robbery, homicide, and other criminal activities throughout the country. The Senate invited Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, who happens to be the Minister of Defense, Olubunmi Tunji, Minister of Interior, Wale Edu, Minister of Finance, Ibrahim Gaidam, Minister of Police Affairs, Nuhu Ribadu, who is the National Security Advisor, Yusuf Binchi, Director General of the Department of State Service, that is DSS, and Ahmed Abubakar, Director of the National Intelligence Agency, and other service security heads. So, briefing journalists after the meeting, which lasted for over 10 hours, interfacing with these public chiefs, Senator Yemi Aderomodu, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, stated that the committee also discussed alternative methods to reinforce the country's border security to prevent the infiltration of criminal elements. So, the story is a bit long, but this is the reason why we are bringing this conversation this morning. Because when the country is working, no one will be thinking about involving in crime. Because the country is going through difficult time and people are expecting the economy to spring up as a result of subsidy removal, as a result of some of the policies by the present administration. Yet there is something that no Nigerians want to subject themselves to, the kind of hardship we experienced during the cash crunch, during the BVN and NIN. And today, these policies is what we are looking at. And my guest has expressed his own opinion that it is a misplacement of priority. How much was expended? Do we have a data? How many years coming we are yet to have a national census head count? All of these are questions begging for answers. So if we are to go by some of these challenges, what are the steps to be taken rather than to initiate or to look for compulsory certification of citizens? Because we do have this data. You can't go to a bank and tender a check of 1 million when they already know your source of income without the bank asking you to take off your face masks or to come for verification. You can't go as a business person as a small-scale business person, you present a check of 20 million without the bank making clarification. We do have data, that is with the bank verification number, BVN and NIN, which Nigerians were subjected to hardship. What can be done to avert this kind of policy or this kind of move by National Assembly? What could be put in place so that people can begin to enjoy the benefit? Is it that it is affecting the elite or the people in government? That is why they are taking such kind of, I don't want to call it a draconian push by the National Assembly. Is it because it's affecting them and people who tend to be the rich are the targets of these kidnappers?
You see, the issue is this. That may be one factor. As it is closing into the upper class of the society in our rungs of social stratification, the heat will be more felt. If more citizens are dying of plane crash, the more they are dying from malaria, or rather vice versa. Attention would have be given to the cure of malaria sector than the way the attention is given to aircraft management in Nigeria. You see, it has become obvious that we are going back to understand what Karl Marx meant when he says that the history of the hitherto existing world is of class struggle. We are returning almost to a caste system. Well, I can say that vividly because at the resumption of Senate, the Senate president was making fun of a slogan that is serious to Nigerians. Let the poor breathe. And he hit the gavel. The poor are listening. And if our policies are gathering towards protecting a particular class, a time will come when there will be a serious uproar from the common man. They cannot, you can't tell me that government is not responsible for a systematic change of an economy. It is obvious. Rwanda left crisis in 1994 here. Today, Rwanda has come and gone ahead of us in so many things because there was just one good leader. Once the head is good, and just like I told you, how can we legislate when the Senate is full of rewardees? Rewardees of political engagement in the past or an attempt political engagement in the future. And once you have this without merit, policies are going to emanate from mere hobnobbing on issues, not proper legislation, because there is no intelligence attached to this. And let me say one more thing, that it seems that they have not come to terms with the reality on the Nigerian street. Maybe because they are driving in well-protected vehicles and return back to a safe home, guided with so many policemen. But the common man traveling from Kogi State to Abuja knows that when he crosses Lokoja, he will start praying until he gets to Gwagwalada.
He's at the mercy of his God.
He's at the mercy of his God.
Whatever he believes in.
So, the precipitating factor of the existing crisis have not been dealt with. The precipitating factor is that poverty is becoming eminent on a daily basis, and there seems to be no end to curbing it. Why? Because insecurity is not yet being battled. And once insecurity is not battled, there is a slim chance for food insecurity to go into extinction. Rather, there will be an expansion in food insecurity because the common man that farms in Sokoto today pays tax, not to government, but to bandits, to be able to grow crops.
And these are verifiable information.
My brother, it is verifiable. Go and check the productivity in agriculture since the inception of insurgency and banditry. You will know that it has suffered drag. It is not just that. The Middle Belt is awash with crisis of herdsmen and farmers clash on a daily basis. Now, tell me, are we going to produce food in the air when we are not safe on the land? I mean, these are things that deserves urgent attention. How to make an enabling. The Nigerian common man is a resilient citizen that will even make cartoon and laugh out of this serious matter we are talking about today. But give him a simple opportunity. That simple opportunity is a conducive working environment. If you put a Nigerian on the rock and is not affected and there's water and light there, he will turn everything he finds around him into wealth. So, if we are not taking into cognizance this particular inherent capacity of a Nigerian to be a transformative citizen, and we watch them doing nothing, this energy will eventually be transformed into negative energy. And when it is transformed, it is going to be at its peak. That is why you have cyber crime on the rise in Nigeria. That's why you have Nigerians anywhere they go into drugs. They are known for it in the worst of it. That is why the 419ers in Nigeria are at the top notch. They could deceive a government of a country. Why? Because these people are knowledgeable. But this knowledge is inverted to use in a negative form. So, I think what government should do is to harness our various potential. If a government comes in like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that have assumed office now, goes through legislation rather than what the legislators are doing now on ensuring that power is guaranteed, why will we talk about increasing pump price of fuel? But these two things are at two extreme ends complementary. The man that wants to be a barber cannot continue barbing in the daytime without light. So
power supply.
The power supply that he needs to survive is not readily available. And here he is grappling with the pump price of fuel. Of course, how do you expect him to barb at 500 naira that he used to barb when fuel was 200 naira, 150 per liter? Of course, it's not going to be possible. And the man that helps us support our economy, which is the civil servant, is still pegged at the same amount it takes before the increment in pump price of fuel. He's moving from Maraba to Federal Secretariat, have shifted in price over 2 to 3 times since the pump price of fuel. And yet, he still remains. The pump price of food items keep soaring every day. If you wake up this morning and you take into account the price of milk this morning, next 3 days, by the time you get there, you see that the price have gone up.
There's an exponential increase.
On a daily basis. So the economy is at the mercy of an auto drive because it seems the economic policies that have been in place are no longer effective. Thus, coming up with this kind of policy of certification is an aberration at this time that there is dire need for economic improvement on lives of the citizens. I think anything that makes it is even funny that the Senate can think of anything that can make Nigerians gather in their number. I would be afraid to undertake any policy now that can make people go to the bank.
Congregation.
Yes, like the MFLA crisis did pre-election last time, till the NIN did the time they needed NIN, till the BVN did. Anything that makes Nigerian gather now, Senate, if you are listening to me, listen very carefully. If you make Nigerian gather and make them go through stress now, there might be a revolt from one point in Nigeria. They have not gathered on any reason, and people are protesting on hunger in Niger. They have not gathered on any reason. People protested 3 days in Oshogbo. Why are we continuously agitating Nigerians? We should listen to them and see them as human beings. Being in the Senate does not make you a superhuman being. It is right. It is the privilege of the common man's vote that you are there. And the common man that voted you into the Senate is not even hearing the things that you should tell him enough. They are trying to certify people as Nigerians. And the immigration service there, as it is, may have been full with non-Nigerian citizens taking job because of their border influence on Nigeria. So if you are going to certify now, if somebody that is in Nigeria from border country is there, how are you going to identify him as a non-Nigerian? The first basic thing to do about Nigerian identification is go back to the NIN that have been done, make sure they are interlinked, and let the agencies have an interagency collaboration. The military, the police force, the EFCC should have that database that have been collected in NIN. And any number on telephone that does not have a NIN linkage should be stopped.
Disconnected.
Tell me, how can we be taking ransom How can bandits be taking ransom over 4 years after NIN have been introduced? What was the essence of engaging Nigerians in that futile exercise? Let's go back to those things. Let the Nigeria Identity Management Corporation go into ensuring that your BVN, your NIN are linked together, linked to every database that is necessary by government at the permission of citizens. So that when there is need for the policeman to track, you don't have to go and meet SAS. You can go to Gariki police station, get them a device. Where is your phone number? Who took your phone? Who asked for ransom? What was the number that asked for ransom? And this tracking will be done easily. Is it today that Nigerian police are running in the bush after bandits? What has taken drones away? So I think rather than doing this, they should think back on how to curb insecurity. These things, certification and all these things are not being used. So why are we continuing to engage in things that we know will not yield any positive result?
Well, these are submissions by my guest, who is emotional, who is gradually becoming emotional because of his passion for a one, united and a progressive Nigeria. And that is the essence of this program. He is a comrade, Jacob Okpanachi. He is a convener coalition of civil society for good governance. We are discussing the move by the National Assembly, Senate precisely, that is for compulsory certification of citizens following the surge of banditry, kidnapping, insecurity, and sundry crime that we are experiencing. Will Nigerians made to face the kind of hardship, the kind of rigor they went through during the enrollment of the National Identification Management Number, NIN, bank verification number? All of these are moves, and Nigerians definitely are not ready for such kind of, according to the submissions of my guests, anything that will make Nigeria gather in congregation is something that the leadership of the National Assembly, the executive, and everyone in power should not encourage. Because already we are seeing protests in Niger and some other parts of the country. We don't want to use this platform as if we are prophesying doom. We all knew the story of NSAS, how it began. We also have the social media, which is a very, very strong tool and a very strong platform. It can start either physically or on the social media. That is why we are advocating for good governance. That is why we are looking at possible ways to ending kidnapping for ransom, which has become a coordinated, organized crime. If these bad guys, if these bandits go around with AK-47, what happens to surveillance? At a point in time, we had a governor who said, we know where these guys are. To be precise, Governor Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, that we know where they're hiding. The issue of surveillance is also one big thing that the security architecture of the country should also pay attention to. Intelligence gathering, according to my guest submission, is also very, very key, as collaboration should be shared among these data which we have already, either with the bank verification enrollment or National Identification Commission. So we will go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be opening up the phone lines so that you, the listener, we believe the program is both for the elite and for the common man. You, the listener, can also call us to express your own opinion, constructive criticisms, and of course, profile solution. We are not just looking at the problems alone, we are looking at the solutions. We also have a subtopic to discuss, that is conversion of the current system of government that we are practicing at this point in time. Please stay with me and my guest. The program is HallowMace on Radio. The platform is Armed Forces Radio.
Those against in here, the eyes have it. Our journey has been steady from the advent. With crystal clear vision, we started off as a news online portal. We subsequently evolved into a magazine, and now on your radio. We do not only bear the name Media House. We practice with the best ethos of our professional calling, presenting facts with objectivity. We are committed and resolute. We are HallowMace. We are the standard bearers. It's HallowMace on Radio. dedicated to promotion of legislature, democracy, and good governance. It's hot, interactive, educating, engaging, and entertaining. HallowMace on Radio, Thursdays, 10 a.m. on Armed Forces Radio, 107.7 FM. HallowMace on Radio. Parliament. Brought to the people. Brought to the people.
All right, Abuja listener, good morning and welcome back from that short break. If you check your time, we've spent almost 30 minutes. We've spent over 30 minutes. Yes, we have less than an hour to wrap up the show. And we're looking at some of the move by the National Assembly to either change or shake up, to heat up the polity. Well, before I open the phone lines, my guest made a submission, which was according to a religious and respected leader, that is Sultan of Sokoto. He said Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. I'm trying to lay my hand on that story while I share that story with you. Okay, while I'm trying to get that story, you can as well call us and make your contributions. Tell us what you think about this move by the National Assembly, by the Senate, by the senators, for a compulsory certification of citizens. Are you ready to go queue up because you want to get certification? A move by the federal government to curb the excessive of kidnapping for ransom, to curb the excessive of insecurity. We have bad people who are making life difficult for both the elite, the government, and the ordinary man. Today, kidnapping for ransom is like an organized business. So our phone lines are officially open. The first contact is 090-9752-9699. That is 090-9752-9699. The alternative number is 0803-396-3643. 0806-396-3643. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you think about the topic of discussion, about what the senators are proposing. They are pushing for a compulsory certification of every Nigerian citizen. So they are saying it doesn't matter if you have BVN. They are saying it doesn't matter if you have NIN. They need a compulsory certification. How much was expended on the enrollment of BVN and NIN? Hello, good morning. Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir, and welcome.
Thank you. My name is Mr. Godwin. I'm calling from Central area.
All right, Mr. Godwin from Central area. You have a question?
My take is that I think we always like to make things look difficult, things that are not difficult. The thing is, last time the police told us that they don't have the gadget to use for tracking. That if your relative or someone close to you is being kidnapped, you should go and meet a private company to track. Then you bring the tracking results to the police to carry out their work. So I don't know whether it's the security agency that told the Senate that for them to stop this insecurity, Nigerians need to register. And for me, I don't think that is the solution to the problem. Rather, the people, we are paying them salary, they should do their work. If the police work, investigation should carry a lot of money. Billions have been coming into security. What are they using to buy? If police say they don't have tracking equipment, so let's get the tracking equipment and everything will be easy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being part of the show. Your contributions and submissions are well accepted. So we are still expecting more calls, more reactions on the number 090-9752-9699. 090-9752-9699. If you can't get through on that number, call us on 0806-396-3643. I have a second caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Abubakar Sharif. All right. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you for this very important discussion and information.
Thank you, sir.
I think what the Senate and the service chiefs are trying to do is simply diversionary.
Okay.
We need to get to this level. What we have done so far under pandemic, we were forced to come out as early as sometimes 5 a.m. to go and queue up at our various mobile telecoms companies. And we have all gone through that thing. Why certification? I think they are looking for, they want to buy time not to do their work. I think it's justice. Thank you.
All right. They said they want to buy time to do their work. Well, we're all looking for solutions. When you make such kind of submissions, please try as much as possible to provide solutions or make recommendations so that the people who are listening to us or people in office will definitely pick some of these and make things easier. 08063963643 is also available for you to make contributions. That is 08063963643. The first number is 09097529699. Comrade,
yes,
you mentioned a misplacement of priority.
Yeah.
And when you were making analysis of how issues of insecurity is interconnected with food sufficiency,
yes,
definitely people will be asking questions. When government is making intervention to release grain, they say they have released 42,000 metric tons from the Foreign National Reserve to be distributed through a platform which we don't know yet. They say, I'm asking, is it going to be in the form of National Social Register, which was used by the previous administration, that welcome different criticisms from all fora? And we understand that without security, there can be food sufficiency. Now, where is the place of artificial intelligence? We are looking for a collaborative effort by these ministries of government which handle NIN registration and BVN enrollment. Where is the place of artificial intelligence? Why is it that they are trying to make Nigerians go through these rudiments of hardship? Already, the country is like Nigerians are going through a lot. Let me just use the language. Nigerians, citizens who voted people to represent their interests, their constituency, are going through a lot. And the palliative which the ordinary citizens were promised, some never received it, and some persons were still thinking it's all a display of buying time for the government to find their feet. Where is the place of artificial intelligence before we unveil the next topic? Hello, good morning. Sorry, I'll come back to you. Yes, welcome. Please tell us your name and location.
My name is Moses, calling in at Karo.
Okay, Moses from Karo. You have a question or a contribution?
Yeah, this is a program, but what I saw in this case is that the man that first saw, I think the man didn't know Nigeria very well.
Okay.
Because it makes mention of a planning extent that is the social farmer.
Yes.
What makes you to be like this is because of planning extent. They are not allowed 100 million Nigerian villagers to go to farm. If government now bring the food, that is to bring food, are they control the price?
That is it.
So how long are they going to be releasing the food for Nigeria? If you release the food and make it control price, that Nigeria can go to farm, the price will be stable. If they ever bring to 1 million tons, cannot solve Nigeria problem. Because if it's just 1 month, everything will be gone. How long are we going to connect with you to buy 1 month of price? What's the plan? Where are we going from here? So if territorially main business of Nigeria, the local government autonomy, people are trying to take over governance. We know why government is existing in the state. But if we continue from federal, our agriculture is not functioning to the standard of farmers. It's only rich more. It's affecting masses. So, senators to try, and President Tinubu to know that they voted for him, not to come and complain, not to come and stand on the existing law of war that is not even implemented to the letter. We are deceiving ourselves. Where are we going from here? See, if we stand like this, killing poverty is coming up. People need to eat mandatory, compulsory. So, thank you.
Thank you very much for your contributions. Well, another caller expressing his dismay about the push by the National Assembly and is looking at making security available for these farmers who definitely are one of the life wire of our own economy, just like you mentioned in your submission, the entrepreneurs, the farmers who are people making sure that they go to farm and they do what the government is supposed to do. We'll come back to that topic, which is a conversion of the country's system of government. Hello, okay, it's over to you.
Yes. Well, you see, the whole issue of system of government is not the problem of any economy.
60 of them, 60 senators, were after that bill to change the system of government to parliamentary.
Parliamentary system. Where were we before? 1960. Nnamdi Azikiwe was the president, and Tafawa Balewa was the prime minister.
Yes.
And it was seen that we couldn't use that system. No matter how beautiful it was, as was said, yes, it was being thrown away. And we found ourselves in the presidential system of government. Now, is it even the system of government that is the problem? Is it because Nigeria is a democratic system that someone will steal money that is enough to develop his community? Is it because of the system of government that somebody can run from anywhere and run over people and kill them in their droves without a check from government? Is it the system of government that have made it impossible for government to be able to provide power for citizens? Is it the system of government that have made our refineries not working? Is it the system of government that will make a governor to direct funds that is meant for his citizens? In fact, let me shock you. From an economic analysis, some government house receive more money in running them than the money that goes to the whole states.
Wow.
And you see, when we keep beating around the bush rather than going direct to the main problem, that is where the problem is. The people in the Senate, is it the presidential system that says people in Senate should be driving in cars that could provide water for their citizens? I mean, you see, there cannot be anything more parliamentary or more deserving than one day it will be joyous for us to say that the Senate of Nigeria have ordered that every official of Nigeria should be driving in innocent vehicle.
Made in Nigeria
product. It is so in most countries. In America, they drive Cadillac, the president. In France, they use vehicles that are made in France. In UK, you see a lot of Land Rover vehicles in the convoy of the president. Why are we not proud of the things we make? Or why are we not encouraging the things we make?
And we're complaining of
forex. We are complaining of foreign exchange. Is it the presidential system that have made politicians to change looted money to dollars, that have made dollar scarcity a problem? You see, our problems are far from the solutions we are trying to provide. They are not in tandem. Provide an enabling environment for Nigerian citizens, and you will run a system. Even if you call it GOAT system, it will work. Nigerian citizens tend, like I said, to be a special species of human being.
Adapting to any situation.
They can adapt. I said they will laugh out of this thing we are talking about here now. But don't wait until this laughter becomes an embitterment that can lead into a revolt, because it will not be controlled. Why did I say this? Now that organized system are asking questions from government, it is important that government yield to these questions, because this organized system, like the labor, the civil society organizations, are a controlled entity. But when you leave it to spill out of their own hand, who are mediating and mirror image of the society to the government and the mirror image of the government to the society, there is going to be a problem, because when it is taken out of the hand of these people, it is going to the hands of the larger population of the economy, which is the common man on the street. Now they will have a uniform language. That uniform language have shifted to become poverty. The protests that happened on hunger, one was in Oshogbo, one was in Niger. How are these two states related in terms of region? They are not
at all.
So when
North Central
and Southwest.
Sorry, let me interject you. We get back to your submission. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning, and welcome. Yes, can you speak up?
Hello?
Yes, good morning. You are live, so you are connected. Go ahead, speak up. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, my name is Abu. I'm calling you from Jukwe.
Okay, Agbo from Jukwe. You have a contribution or a question?
Yeah, the man there has adequately captured what is happening in the country, really.
Okay, we're happy about that.
But in addition to that, I think our major problem is not the system per se, but we copy the system directly. We should modify it to suit our people.
Simple.
For instance, why must we have a bicameral kind of legislation? What is representative? What are they doing? What is senators doing? Why we should duplicate it? Why can't we have just the senators and let the representative vote? And then it should be part-time. It shouldn't be full-time, and it is being said over and over by the media that Nigerian legislations and the head of state, they are the highest paid kind of legislators in the world. And we don't have money. And then we are paying every amendment to, that's why they are dying to just be there. Please, if we can restructure it to favor, streamline it, it will be fine. Again, not only them, most of the other areas that needs to be attended to. For instance, somebody becomes a minister, and then he has a convoy of jeeps endlessly. You see, this is it will never trickle down to development. Individual, if you look at how exchange rate is going on at the end of every month, whenever they pay the legislation, they all go to everywhere to change the money to dollars, and then the prices goes up. That is the main reason why the price of dollars goes up every time. And so we have to look at this. Let's restructure this into our own. We must not copy the American system without modifying it. And as long as we don't modify it, it will be a problem. America, they have strong security system that will deter fraud. Here we don't have. Our own is very weak. So it cannot deter fraud. And so everybody goes there to pick. So please, if there is any way we can adjust it to suit our pocket, make the legislation, senators, make them be part-time so that they have other ones to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Agbo, for being part of the show this morning. Well, one thing I can pick from his submission is the cost of governance, which has been overflowed over the conversation, the cost of governance and domesticating local production, which definitely, when we are crying that there is no money to service our debt and to provide a basic infrastructure, we do have a lot of infrastructural deficits, and nobody is looking at the cost of governance. I think two of my callers, they have also looked at that part, which you also mentioned in your submission. Now, the country is dwindling as a result of the way the economy is now. What could be done to fix this problem? Is it that we need a review? The senators are trying to push for new bills to make new laws. Do we need to review the cost of governance in our
there is no doubt
in our country's constitution.
There is no doubt on the need to review the cost of governance. In UK, the Prime Minister can be seen sometimes even riding bicycle. Macron is seen many times riding bicycle as the president of France.
France, yeah, all over on the social media.
All over on the social media. And they go to common shops like common citizens. You know why? The citizens are protected by the system. It's a system thing. Once the system is placed on that equitable distribution of the commonwealth of the people, there will be no problem. We are talking about system of government. Is it a system of government that will make a state governor to want to produce staff of office for chiefs at the rate of 600 million naira? Or to build palace? I mean, to spend 500 million to build palace for, to buy, what's called, to produce staff of office for traditional rulers. These are people that does not have constitutional input to the running of the government. So is it gold they want to use in making the then you are building 3 palaces at the rate of 600 million.
And you're still not paying salary.
And you are not paying salary in that same state. And nobody is seeing anything wrong. You see, the same state, which is Kogi State, have appointed somebody that EFCC have been placed on wanted list as a chief of staff to the government. I mean, we should run our system with conscience. And let me tell you something. The elitist class, in quote, which are the political class of Nigeria, should with speed start returning to the humane politics of creating a backward integration of policies with the desiring requests of the citizens. Nigerian citizen is not telling you he wants to be a millionaire overnight. The Nigerian citizens wants to tell you that he needs light, he needs road, he needs school, he needs water.
The basic infrastructure.
The basic infrastructure. And they will, even within short time, come and compete with the best millionaire in the world. But once these are lacking, and our leaders are basking in the euphoria of the presence, which is the available cash that is being made available to them, making them kings and lords over citizens. A time will come, it will no longer be comfortable for anyone to call themselves leader in Nigeria, because the gap between the upper class, which is the working class, the bourgeoisie class, and the proletarians, which is the working class, has become wide, because there is no middle class economy in Nigeria anymore. If you do not fall into the upper class that can have at least 2 meals, not 3 square meals anymore in a day, you are going to fall into the class that cannot have a meal in 3 days.
And that is what we are trying to avoid, because a hungry man is an angry man, like a ticking time bomb ready to explode. That is not what we advocate for this country. We preach progressive democracy, we preach unity, we preach oneness, we preach a system of government that will carry everyone along. The president, in his inaugural speech, promised to carry everyone along, to run an all-inclusive governance that is irrespective of party affiliations. And on this note, I think this is the size of the package. Mr. Anderson Osigbe, the producer, as we wrap up the show, please, a word for people in governance, a word for the leaders of this country, because a lot is being said about the cost of governance. The government of the day at some point say they are reducing the number of convoy that will be involved in either a presidential or vice presidential foreign travels. Is that enough? The National Assembly, the cost of running a state house, a government house, what do you have to tell the elite and the leaders? Because the elites are looking at solutions. The ordinary Nigerians They're looking for food. Today, this morning, woke up to hear that 42,000 metric tons of grains have been ordered to be released to the vulnerable. Who are the vulnerable? And how will this be distributed? Will there be a transparency? We all knew what happened during the palliative, which some persons are still waiting for up till now. What is your own parting shot to our leaders?
Well, thank you so much. The only thing I'm going to say at this point in time is for us to have what we call sincerity of purpose. Sincerity of purpose in our governance system, sincerity of purpose in whatever we do and all that. You see, let me tell you something. What I see playing out in Nigeria is just a kind of a garbage in, garbage out kind of a thing, right? Firstly, our leaders are not sincere with those who they are leading. Then secondly is that they don't even care about what happens to the country. Most importantly, what they care about is their pocket. Now, we woke up yesterday to hear that about 60 lawmakers are moving, for a change of system. And I keep saying, I've said it, I was on air this morning in a television program, and I said, look, it's not about the system. It's not about the system, whether presidential, whether parliamentary, right? It is the people. Let me tell you something. Momentum before collision is equal to momentum after collision, and it's equal to zero. Meaning that whether it is parliamentary system of government, whether it's presidential system of government, for as long as the stakeholders, the major player who are the politicians, don't change, don't begin to have a reorientation, right?
Yeah.
Don't now begin to look at a point where it will be Nigeria first before anything. We'll continue to produce bad governance. The bad governance here is the zero, because when you go in, you come out, you give us the same result. So what I'm advocating for this morning is for us, is for those who are leading, is for those who are being governed, is for everybody to come out and face reality and say the truth and be sincere to ourselves and be sincere to this nation. You see, Nigeria will begin to move forward. We need a round table. We need a round table discussion.
We had.
We need a round table. Right? The National Assembly is asking for a reduction. One of the reasons why those 60 lawmakers are asking for a change of system is because they say, firstly, that the powers of the president is overbearing. Secondly, is that they want to reduce cost of governance. These are the same people who increase their budgetary allocation, yearly budgetary allocation, from 200 and something to 344 point something billion. These are people who have over is both the Senate President, both the Speaker, the Deputy Senate President, all of them, they have over 20 billion naira worth of constituency projects. Now you're talking about cost of governance. Let the cost of governance, reduction of cost of governance, let it start from National Assembly. Let it start from National Assembly. Let them come up and say, look, you know what? Now we want to make this in part-time. Want to make legislation part-time. Those are things that we expect them to agitate for. Those are things we are looking forward to. True federalism, right? Resource control. You see, all these things that will now reduce the power in the central. Everybody will begin to go back to his local government and instead to develop the state. It's as simple as ABC. So it's about sincerity of purpose. There's no sincerity of purpose anywhere. The Nigerian politician sees governance as a means of making money.
As a shortcut to wealth.
Yes. Meanwhile, in the developed times, they see it as service, call to service. So come on. Let's look for a system that works for us, that will suit us as a nation and as a people.
All right. On that note, we touched down on the program HallowMace on radio. In the words of Sultan of Sokoto, they say, we have reached the level people are very agitated. People are hungry. People are angry. But they still believe some people can talk to them. They believe in some of their governors, traditional rulers, and religious leaders. We are religious people and we respect religious authority a lot. If these people are lending their voice, I believe the government of today would listen. So, if you have enjoyed the engaging and interactive session, it has been fruitful in the past 1 hour. We've been engaging with you. Do join us next week for another edition of the program HallowMace on radio. I want to take time to appreciate all our callers, all those who called, and all those who tried to call but who couldn't get through as a result of the engagement. Just to let you know that the program HallowMace is also open for partnership, sponsorship, collaborations. Come do business with us. Reach the producer of this program so we can do great things and make the country a better place. My name is Daniel Odi. Thank you, Comrade Jacob, for being part of the show today.
Thank you for having me.
And to my producer, Anderson, thank you for being part of the show.
Thank you for having me.
Armed Forces Radio, we continue with the rest of our program. God bless your hearts.